The following presentation was made possible by the Altek Media Group, a Southern California multimedia company providing exponential branding and marketing services to all their clients. The Altek Media Group understands the value of the 3W strategy, providing their clients proven, trackable results. Let us make it easy for you to grow your business. Visit altekmedia.com.
Good morning, everyone. I am obviously the CEO of Southwest. Those of you that remember last year, we tried to do this with the three of us up here, myself, Kaiser, Loma Linda. Well, so I'm going to play Switzerland today and be all three because it just didn't work out, so I got the short straw to present on healthcare. So if some Loma Linda slides show up and Kaiser, I have no idea how they got in my presentation, but we'll talk about them as well. So a little bit about Southwest in terms of who we are as an organization. Of course, we have both Inland Valley and Rancho Springs. It's one license. So we have one governing board, one license, one medical staff. We operate two different campuses. As you can see the statistics up there. Some of the things we're proud of are our partnership with Rady. And I think you're all well aware, Rady's MOB is scheduled to open in November of next year, which will bring additional services to the community so that we don't have to drive for some of those services for our pediatric patients. They also do provide an ER physician within our ER so that we can provide that a higher level of pediatric care in the community and again not have to drive. We do over 100,000 ER visits a year when you look at the two facilities. Loma Linda slide later has 45,000 visits approximately in their ER. So 145,000 visits a year in the ER for patients that probably a lot of that is primary care. And it shows the shortage of physicians that we have in our market. Over 1,400 staff members on and over 500 physicians that we have on as well. So some of the services that we offer at Southwest that we're pretty proud of and some of the things that we're doing in the future. Our bariatric surgery is a center of excellence. That basically means we have to go through additional certifications, additional qualifications. We get surveyed every 3 years on those programs. Joint Commission is going to come in later to do an advanced certification, a center of excellence on our joint center for hips and knees, primary strokes. Our Get With the Guidelines, these are awards that you're given for additional care. We have a robot in our OR. For those of you that may not know, this robot is a highly advanced, Loma Linda has one as well, highly advanced technical instrument that has arms that actually are inserted into the abdomen. Basically, the surgeon sits in the corner of the room with a game console and operates those arms inside your abdomen. The good news on that is you're able to recover quicker. It's a shorter stay. But when you think about the cost of healthcare, the stay is shorter, but the equipment is a lot more expensive. Talked a little bit about Rady Children's, our level 2 NICU and PEDS. We also have a partnership with University of California for our intensivist program, which basically we have highly trained physicians in our ICU 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tell you a little bit about the impact on that here in a little bit. Our economic impact, salaries, $104 million in salaries. Those are normally spent back into this community. Majority of our staff do live in Riverside County. Most of them live in this area. Our benefits that we spend, $23 million on health benefits. We have capital investments every year of about $11 million. And then we do pay property and sales tax of $2.8 million. But as my friends at the city like to tell me, that $2.8 million doesn't stay in the city. It's spread throughout the state. Most of it goes to Sacramento. But it is contributing back to the economic development. So let's talk a little bit about Kaiser. How many of you were able to go to the open house at Kaiser? Very, very nice building, highly technical building. It is 100,000 members. Just in South Riverside County have Kaiser insurance. Southwest Healthcare is a planned hospital for Kaiser, so we are able to provide care for those Kaiser patients, and we're continuing to work with them on additional contracts. Some of the services they offer: lab, obstetric care, x-ray, imaging, specialty services, 82,000 square foot building. And as I mentioned before, it's a lot of technical innovations. 42-inch screens in the rooms. You're checked in on iPads. There's really not much waiting in terms of sit and waiting for you. They actually let you know when you're in the queue, where you're up next, in order to see your exam. The exam rooms, as you walk in, have a screen there that you can actually see the care that's being delivered to you. You can talk to your physician about that, ask questions, pull it up on the screen. So a lot of great interaction with the physicians in terms of the care they're providing for their patients. Of course, they wanted to thank the City of Murrieta for the partnership and the support in their new building and the continued development of their master plan. Loma Linda. I don't know how this slide got in here, but no, I'm just kidding. We interact well together in terms of moving patients back and forth, but they have 850 employees. As you can see, the 45,000 ER visits, again, shows that lack of primary care in the region and our inability. We're about 95 physicians short when you look at primary care just in our area. Some of their key services, cardiac, of course, is a key service area. They were the first to bring cardiac surgery to the area, and STEMI, which is heart attack, those individuals facing a heart attack go to the ER and get balloon treatment, get their veins, you call it roto-rooting out your arteries and your veins. And then stroke, they're also stroke, and they also have a comprehensive cancer center. They will be opening a NICU soon. It's a 6-bed, level 2 NICU, which will allow rooming in by the parents. So now let's talk about healthcare in 2018 and what keeps me up at night. Actually, what keeps me up at night is my 3-year-old son. But when we look at what's going on in the region, some of the good about the population in the region that is actually going to benefit healthcare is we do have growth above what the national average is. 7% growth compared to 4% growth. That's positive for the region. It's positive for healthcare when we look at patients and we look at the ability to provide care. Household income is above the national average. We also, is a positive for healthcare, is the growth in the older and the younger. So when we look at those opportunities to provide care, we obviously want to capture patients at that younger age, mothers, which is why we put a lot of effort into our OB services. But we also have the senior population. So joints, knees, things like that, that we know are all going to go out on us at some point in time. And as we live longer, those replacements are becoming more and more opportunities. The downside with some of those is we expect within the next year that those of us that are relatively healthy that need a knee replacement, you will be in and out of the hospital within 24 hours for a total knee replacement. And there's places across the country now that are already doing that with the healthier population. Medicaid. As you can see, Medicaid is what we refer to as the safety net. Government provides Medicaid for those individuals that can't afford health care. We saw the development of the new Obamacare, if you will, and how a lot of people were able to get insurance. But it's also one of those that, as you can see, 1 in 3 Americans are covered by Medicaid. California is about the same. There's 33% of the California population is covered by Medicaid. It's over 12 million individuals. 60% of those 33% are obese. And 36% of those Medicaid population have a mental health disease. We don't have enough mental health in the county or in the state to take care of those individuals that have mental health. They're looking at a reduction in the federal spending for 17 through 26 of about $834 billion in the Medicaid dollars. And to give you a little sense, Medicaid barely covers our cost. So we really don't make any profit off of the Medicaid dollars, which is why they talk about subsidy. The majority of us in this room are subsidizing health care for those that can't afford to pay. I got this morning on some of the readings with the new tax plan. The latest play on Obamacare is to repeal some of it through the tax legislative that they're trying to pass. What they're looking for is an opportunity to take away the mandate that every individual is covered under health care. If they do that, by 2020, there'll be 13 million individuals that will not have health care coverage that have health care coverage today. That will impact all of us greatly because our subsidies will go up, the cost of health care will go up, but we'll be making less on those dollars. So the impact, as we talked, you know, there's still opportunity as you look out there. Premiums have gone up 20%, but you can still find plans at $75 a month. But my concern with those plans at $75 a month, they have a huge deductible. When you have a high deductible, how many females are going to go in for a screening on their mammogram when they have to pay out of pocket? How many of us are going to go in for our wellness check every year just to make sure that we don't have something that's going on? It's going to impact healthcare long term because the chronic disease and those individuals that delay getting treatment now will be more acute later, which again continues to drive up the cost of that healthcare. And you know, President Trump put a disclaimer out this year, if you will, shorten the time frame for signing up for healthcare.gov, and as you can see up there, in 4 days there were 600,000 people that signed up, which far outpaced last year in terms of those individuals signing up for healthcare. So again, millions more uninsured. We think people will be choosing healthcare, but as I said earlier, are they going to use that healthcare coverage? You know, are they going to wait, like some of them did this past year in the beginning of 2017, just to see what might happen relative to legislation and some of the tax issues? But it is going to take innovation and alignment. As we mentioned earlier, we're aligned with UCSD, we're aligned with Rady. Telemedicine, we're utilizing telemedicine now, which provides a lower cost for care, but brings services to the region. When we look at goals, in terms of over the next 18 months, probably the first goal would be is to get the Rady building open in November. That again brings services closer to home. The second one is for us, if you will, we'll be expanding services that we have at Rancho Springs and Inland Valley. We'll be making some announcements on some plans we're going to do to expand services after the first of the year. Again, the goal is so people don't have to drive out. As Gene mentioned, over 60% of the people commute out. A lot of those people that are commuting out are seeking care elsewhere that we can currently provide here in our market. And the third goal is, how do we survive on declining net revenue? How many of you in a business world survive if you collected 22 cents off of every dollar you billed? Anybody doing that today? We are. So think about every dollar we charge about, our annual charges are $1 billion. We collect about $250 million a year. $250 million is a lot of money. But the cost of healthcare continues to thrive, but we're continuing to get less and less for those dollars. To give you an example of what's going on within Southwest right now is we're trying to deliver care. We brought the intensivist program in a year ago to increase the quality of care, provide better care at the bedside, and to have a higher level of physician interaction on an ongoing basis. We've seen that over a year's period of time. We've had a reduction in our ICU length of stay. We've had a reduction in our ventilator days, and we've had a reduction in tracheostomies, which is when you have to have a tube placed here, you have to have a cut. That impacts our revenue. It increases the quality, but it impacts the revenue. It decreases our cost, but it causes us to go, okay, how are we going to do things differently? Because we can't continue to survive, if you will, on 22 cents on the dollar. It gets back to that basic question, is healthcare a right or is it a privilege? If it's a right and everybody gets it, how are we going to pay for it? If it's a privilege, are we going to allow healthcare systems and healthcare organizations to provide different levels of care based on the ability for you to pay like they do in other countries? We've not answered that fundamental question, and I don't think anybody really wants to tackle it because it creates a lot of tension and a lot of turmoil within communities, within families even. And then the final thing I'll leave you with that I hope all of you have done, how many of you have living wills? How many of you talk to your family about living wills or your parents about living wills? That factor, that one thing, I ask that you do that one thing because that helps make a determination at the end of life. Now, I know we all think we're going to live forever, but we're not. We have to deal with that situation at some point in the time, And when you deal with it beforehand as a family and you talk about it and you understand your wishes of your loved ones, it makes it a lot easier when that time does come. And you don't have to delay that care and delay that treatment, which only adds cost in the overall health care. At one point in time, they've said over 50% of the health care costs are spent in the last 6 months of life, and it doesn't change the outcome. So think about having those conversations with your family and think about how you can impact your own cost of health care, and make sure, if you've got it, make sure you do get preventative care, because that's the way we're all going to stay healthy over a longer period of time. Thank you.
The following presentation was made possible by the Altek Media Group, a Southern California multimedia company providing exponential branding and marketing services to all their clients. The Altek Media Group understands the value of the 3W strategy, providing their clients proven, trackable results. Let us make it easy for you to grow your business. Visit altekmedia.com.